just been in the local library to do some readings for clients, and I come here rather than stay at home because I'm less likely to be distracted, and it's a good thing to use your local library, because if you don't use it, you'll use it. So I've just done a couple of readings for clients, and I'm now going to go and ground, go back to the car, take the dog for a walk in the local park, which is just opposite the library here, and then I'm going to have a coffee because it'll be very important to ground. So just beyond there is the local park, and we're at the cusp of April. We're only 2 days left in March, and I'll just show you through the window. That's the library. So I shall check in with you soon. Okay, so I've been back to the car to get my dog after doing my client readings, and I'm going to have to tread very carefully here. I'm in that local park that you can see from the library. I'm going to have to tread very, very carefully here because it's very slippy, because we've had a lot of rain in March, an awful lot. So I thought I'd take you with me on a nice walk with the dog, and then I'm going to go for a coffee. Look at these beautiful flowers. Everything's starting to grow. Leaves on the trees, flowers, new growth. It's just a shame we've had a lot of rain, because I'm going to have to tread very carefully with this path being slippy. Don't want to end up on my arse. So this is part, I mean, there's a playground section, skateboard section in this park. But I wanted to do what I call the nature of it. Don't have to walk off the footpath, it's not as slippy, and just walk with the dog. And it's quite nice because we're kind of semi-rural here. It's a small town, but it's not a city. The countryside isn't far away. This looks like it could be hawthorn. Look at that. A bit blurry. I think this might be hawthorn. Or perhaps, I'm not sure, it looks like hawthorn, but I might be wrong. My late husband was really good at identifying trees, both in leaf and out when the leaves have gone. There's a silver birch. It's terribly wet, the floor, the ground. It's nice to see the patterns. A very feminine tree. I would imagine linked to the moon. Look at that, it looks like an eye. So, I just thought I'd take you on this little walk with me and the dog, and then I'll catch up again near the canal. Okay, so walk along the canal. Nice grounding walk. I'm going to go on to the top end towards town, and then I'm going to pop and have a coffee. lovely. Beautiful flowers there. Spring is such a lovely time of year for ducks. I thought I'd share that bit of a walk with you, and I'll catch you soon. I just thought that I would share with you a client working that I've just undertaken. I'm not going to share with you the client's name or the type of working that's been undertaken, but this is the working has now been completed, and I've just decided to let the candles burn down. So I just thought I'd let you share and have a peek at that. This is my working altar. My room is a bit of a mess at the moment because I am working. I've reopened my Etsy shop, and I do offer distant healings, spell workings, readings, etc. So I just thought I would share with you a bit of my working day. Then I'm going to move over and show you what I'm doing on my laptop as well. So I'm just going to move across the top of the bedroom, which is my office, because the bed is a mess. That is my spell chest with all my spell stuff in, and I'll just show you that quickly. And then over here we're at the computer, and I'm working on a PDF document for my clients. It's going to be uploaded onto my Etsy, and I've been working with the ancestors for a long time, so this is just a document I'm writing up with my experience of working with the ancestors and sharing my rituals, etc, etc. So I just thought I'd give you a quick share of what I'm doing there. I've changed my crystal grid. I use this crystal grid when I'm doing my yoga practice. Haven't done any yoga practice this morning. I'm busy doing work, and that's kind of my another little crystal-y altar there. So that's what I've been doing today, and as you can see, we're in the last day of March. So I shall check in with you soon. Okay, I've now done a couple of workings on my altar, and I've given my altar a clean, and I've re-sorted it out. So I thought I'd give you a quick tour. I keep my altar pretty simple, and I'm just going to show you my altar. I've explained that cross in another video. It was a carving my late husband made, and to me it represents the solar cross and the 4 quarters. And I have my horned goddess, and she kind of to me represents both the horned goddess and the horned god. And then I have a device here that I use for spirit working. I have a little Ogum calendar, my hood lamp, my Matanka doll, which I was taught to make from a Patreon channel I subscribe to. And then I have my central point here. I love knitting, and I've knitted a lily flower and then some other flowers to go around, just to decorate it up for the spring, for the coming, for what was the spring equinox last week, and of course ready for Beltane as well. And then this little box here, it had a candle in, and I've kept it because it's really handy to keep some stuff in that I use. And I have in here some runes and some really tiny cards for divination. So if you just bear with me, I shall put this phone down. I'm just going to place it there, and I shall have a look. I've not got my tripod with me today because I've got some client distant healing work to do, and I've set up the tripod in the area where I'm going to do the distant healing, and that's all set up and I don't want to disturb it. But I just thought I'd show you what's in here. I have some runes, keep some runes in there. These I keep on my altar. And then in this little bag with a protective eye on it, I have some really tiny, they're like lenormand cards. They are so tiny, but I really like them. They have a very vintage feel. And I use these to draw as well. You print them off. What I'll do is I'm going to put the link in the show notes below this video so that you can print these off yourself, and I'll put the link in the bottom of the show notes for you. But they are really nice. They're quite small, as you can see. That's my thumb there. So they're about as big as my thumb. Bear in mind everybody's size's thumb is different, but they're just nice, and I just keep these in this box here. And I like the fact that they're kind of a little bit antique-y. They have an ancestral vibe to them because it's similar to a coffin shape, that. So I thought I'd share these with you, and I shall check in with you guys soon. I thought I'd share this. It's on the bird table outside. 2 wood pigeons. Oh, one's flown off. Yeah. Just thought it was nice to see. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the garden. It's Easter weekend. Well, it's actually Good Friday. And I've actually been in the garden today. I've done quite a lot of work. And I'll show you my bit of garden in a moment. So I went to a garden centre earlier today to get some pots and some plants. I've got this passion flower, which is there, and then in front of it I've planted some calendula seeds, which I've grown. So that's a new addition, and it'll just bring a splash of colour to this wall. And then round here I've now potted up my vegetables. So this is all up to date at the moment. I've got some herb there, thyme, mint, and all these are the broad beans. I've got plenty of broad beans now. I don't need to grow any more. I've got more than enough, and they've taken very well. I've got stakes. Still need to tie some up, and I've been at this for most of the day. Probably finished about an hour or so ago. I've moved this miniature greenhouse over here for more rooms for the beans. And then here I've got my peas. I will be growing more vegetables. I've planted some courgettes and some what's called asparagus peas. They've been planted today. And then I've got some more to plant in May. So if we walk around to the patio area, see what's happening there. It's got some tulips in bud here. Hello, Nero. And I've put some wild seed flowers under there. I've got some nice tulips coming up. And some nice muscari, I think they're called, I'm not sure. And then there's some wildflower seeds along here that are starting to sprout. And then I've planted some pansies, some fuchsia and petunia, and there's some more pansies there. And then there's a tulip coming there. And and I've got some calendula seeds planted in there. And then over here I've got some more plants, the snapdragons, sweet peas, and then I've got some lilies. So yeah, the garden's looking quite nice now, starting to bloom. So I thought I'd check out the garden for you. Okay, so it's a full moon and I'm making an offering to my ancestors at my ancestor altar, and during the lighter half of the year, that is when the clocks have gone forward, I do this at the full moon, and then during the darker half of the year, when the clocks have reverted back, I shall do it at the dark moon. And I have used and brought to the altar 4 simple offerings for the ancestors, and this is an offering that I read in a book quite a while ago, but I've changed words in the book and tailored them to my own. I've offered incense, light, water and earth. And I'm just going to say a little prayer to the ancestors now. I've already spoken with them, which was private, but this part I don't mind sharing with you. Beloved ancestors, I call on you to be here with me now and always. Accept these offerings in the love they are given to you. I offer you earth, the grounding element to secure. I offer you water. It is the spiritual element, the pure element. I offer you incense, the air element for communication. I offer you a candle, the fire element for warmth and light. Accept these humble offerings in the love and remembrance that they are given to you. Beloved ancestors, please feed on this earth, smoke, water and light to nourish and strengthen you. Blessed be. I just thought I would show you this setup. I am in the middle of doing some ancestral healing with a client, so I have now finished the healing. I've just got to finish off with a card reading. I have removed the client's details because that's confidential, so I'm just showing you this is an ancestral healing and just explaining how I do my distant healings. I am a qualified Reiki master teacher, so I'm going to show you the tools I use. First of all, I'm going to explain the photograph at the back. I took this when I was in Ireland. Now, the reason I use this picture in my ancestral healing is when I was in Ireland, I went in the summer of 2019, and I went to start the recovery from my husband having died a couple of months prior to that. But while I was in Ireland, I was looking at these burial mounds, and I physically felt this cord connecting me to these burial mounds, and the cord was an ancestral cord. I've never felt anything like it before. It was this ancestral pull. It was very tangible, and I could feel this cord connecting me to this part of the land and these burial mounds. When I returned from Ireland, I decided to have an ancestry DNA test done, and that took a few weeks, and when I opened the test results, I found that quite the majority of my ancestry is Irish, And the region of Ireland that my ancestry came from was the place and area where I took this photograph. So that was very profound for me, and that's why I use that in my healing work. The rest is I have a healing candle that I use in healings. The poppet is a proxy to represent the client I'm healing, because obviously it's a distance healing session. I have a piece of tree, fossilized tree, to represent the ancestral healing. I use a fossilized wand, again for ancestral healing, an ammonite for the same purpose, and then angelite for the spiritual energy, and a form of quartz. I'm not quite sure what this quartz is called, but I use that as a master healer. So that's just an explanation of how I do a healing, which I thought I'd share with you.